Captain Greg.
CJ, what's your name?
CJ,
Oh.
CJ Adams.
CJ Adams. Good evening, folks.
Talkin Tackle.
We're talking tackle today. I know a lot of you have asked about ice fishing. We've been doing a lot of it.
I'm exhausted.
CJ was out all night last night on Gardner's Lake, walleye fishing.
5 o'clock to 2 a.m.
From 5 to 2. You don't have to be crazy to do it, but it helps. It helps.
Let's just say the food was good.
Food was good. Fishing was off. They've had some bonanza
We've
trips.
had some good nights. We've been spoiled. So for tonight, obviously,
we're going to be talking about ice fishing. We've had a lot of people request information on this, so this is basic ice fishing. We've been doing a lot of it. Obviously,
it's a good year for it.
It's a good year for it.
Most of you guys know that.
With it being so cold, I mean, there's a lot of new people getting into it, and I've never seen so many people.
Man, last night
on the lakes.
I drilled through almost a foot and a half of ice. Foot and a half of ice last night we drilled through. So there's plenty.
How many people were there with you?
We had 5 or 6 of us. With us, there was nobody else there, but it was.
Anyhow,
it was adequate. You know.
Let us give you. I've been ice fishing. I've been ice fishing for a long time, and a lot. In fact, I hate to say this, I really do. I did longer than you've been alive.
I was just going to ask, how old is that?
This is. I've got some old gear. I mean, I've got a lot of it. This is vintage 1960, but I still use it all the time. And I mean, it's for those of you who don't know, when we first started ice fishing, we didn't have all the paraphernalia you got today. We had a chisel. You had to stand up and you had to chisel through the ice. There was no augers or anything like that. You had to start a hole about this big to chisel down to make a small hole in the bottom. Okay, now they came out.
How long did it take you?
Oh God, depending on the ice.
And you're doing a lot of holes.
Oh, right? We're doing a lot of holes. We used to fish with like 5, 6 guys. We'd get 2 guys just doing nothing but chip holes.
Oh.
I mean, oh God. Then they came out with the hand auger.
Which what I was used to. What I was raised with.
We thought that was the greatest thing since sliced bread. Put it down and turn the thing. Oh my God! And then recently, now they come out with this.
This is
And if you're going to do any ice fishing, this is what you want. Number one, it's light as a feather. Okay, it attaches to a drill, and when you turn that thing on,
it drills.
It drill. In fact,
I wouldn't.
No! I could put a hole through there. You know, it's so light and it's so efficient. You can go through a foot of ice in a heartbeat with this thing. Okay?
In fact, I have one, and last night we drilled, 30 holes, and it probably took us 5 seconds a hole through a foot and a half of ice. It's the way to go. It's called a K drill, and you get this is a Makita drill. You can get DeWalt, you can get Milwaukee, anything. But a drill, and this thing's called a K drill. You hook it right up, and you're drilling.
Let it go.
Easy.
And boy, it's so quick, it's unbelievable. And when the blades on the bottom get worn, you can, at least this company, you can send them back and they sharpen them for you free of charge.
You know what gets me? And you can talk about the hand augers that we were raised with. It's all metal. These, believe it or not, these fins are plastic. And I never would have thought, when this thing came in the box, I said, you got to be kidding me. We're going to drill through a foot and a half of ice with plastic? But let me tell you, it's the way to go.
It's so fast.
Now, you can still hand auger, and I still like to do it too.
There was a guy the other day, we were fishing on Gorton Pond there,
and
he was using a hand auger. I said, man, it's like in the caveman era, you know?
I got a funny story. We'll keep it real quick.
Toughen you up. But
so I remember back, like you said, when you used to pick the hole, right? So my father, listen to me right now. He was showing me and my cousin. We were probably 8, 10 years old, eating a hot dog in a bucket. He's picking the hole, and he says, "This is how you guys do it. You pick. All of a sudden, guess what? Pick's gone." I looked at him. I said, "Dad, how do you get the pick back?" He says, "CJ, you don't. Now this spot's called the pick. We fish the pick from here on out, and it's still there in Lake Hayward, where we were raised."
We used to have a strap on it.
Story, though.
We used to have a strap on it. When that thing went through, you'd have to catch it, you know.
Yeah, no. When I watched him drop that thing through the hole, I said, "Man, that's an awful funny way to do it."
But anyhow, getting back to it. Okay, so this is an old style tip up. Okay, and just hold that just for a minute. one of the
We'll
things.
show you how it works.
If you've never done it, they got about 3 feet of leader on there. This is fluorocarbon, okay, and one of the most important things here is this little button.
Can you see the button there?
You have to have a button that slides on that line. Now, why do you need that? I know the people that go ice fishing, you know why they need it. But what we do when we first get over the hole is you put what's called a sounder. I don't have mine with me right now, but it's a little piece of lead. You snap it onto
You
the
can hook
hook,
anything, a sinker,
anything, and you drop it to the bottom, and when it hits the bottom, you then pick it up.
You have to adjust to the ice.
You got to adjust it, and what the button does is it lets you get back to that same spot. So you want to pick that thing up 18 inches, set the button there, and then when you wind it,
we'll show you.
You wind all the line back up, and you just go to the button.
Like so. So here comes the button.
Here comes the button. So you wind it right up there.
There's your button.
You take your bait, and you don't want to backbone them. So many people, they hook it so deep that they
you stun them and they're dead.
Stun them and they're dead. You know, you want to just barely hook it forward to the dorsal fin. You can see what we use. Now, we did a lot of perch fishing.
Yep.
and bass fishing. So we've got a number one, a 1.0 octopus hook on there, snelled. Okay?
Last night, so I'm walleye fishing. I'm using big baits, 6-inch baits, and I'm using big hooks, 4.0 hooks, big stuff, because it's different kind of fish. You use different stuff for different fish. But like I said,
we put a little split shot, tiny little split shot, and drop it down there. Even though that shiner might be swimming, eventually he's going to tire a little bit, and that split shot will take him right down to where he belongs.
And then we'll show you what happens. Then you take your flag. Okay, so you got your shiner in your hole, your bait down there. Take your flag. Boom. Okay.
Now, when you get a bite, you set that in the hole. And when you get a bite, it trips. Flag!
Flag.
And then everybody goes running.
At night, I can't see. I'll say that, but you got to use the flashlight. And even with the flashlight, I can't see. So I had flags last night. I had no idea, but that's how it works.
This is, like I said, this is old school. I will tell you a little trick that I've used from day one.
You have tricks?
Oh yeah, but there's always a couple. You want to try to keep that monofilament, that fluorocarbon, straight. You don't want to. A lot of people twist it around the reel, and when you take it off, it's all kinked. You want it nice. You want it to lay nice and straight like that. And one of the things to do, what I do anyhow, is I put a little piece of styrofoam up there. You can see it. And when you're winding these things up at the end of the day, you can simply just take the hook and stick it in the styrofoam, and then that stretches out on the reel, so it keeps that monofilament straight.
I'm gonna try that. I don't do that personally. I don't.
Well, maybe that's why you caught nothing last night.
It could be. Very well could be. He's got jokes tonight. So
anyhow, this is old school. Now we're getting into the.
So similar concept. Looks the same, but
much better.
We're also in the year 2025, so things get a little more.
Go in front of the table.
Okay, sorry.
So everybody
do we
can see
have
you.
any questions or comments? Anybody? Nobody's asking anything yet?
No.
Probably nobody listening.
So now you got the fancy stuff. And
this is really good stuff. This is a heritage, what's called a heritage.
This is all the tip-ups I own. Same thing, a Heritage Laker, and they're from up north. And instead of the old school, this almost has a drag like your fishing reel. You can adjust. So if you're using a big bait, let's say you're putting a 12-inch shiner on there pike fishing, you turn that, you adjust it, then it takes a little bit to take it. You get a small fish on, a small bait on there, back it off a little, then it goes. Okay, it's easy. This stuff is new to us. We're not used to it until the past couple of years, which is nice. But you always want to put your name on it. As you can see, Blackhawk. If you lose one, you're supposed to have your names on them, I guess.
Legally, you're supposed to have them on. Yeah.
Legally, you're supposed to, but same concept. You get a bite, flag goes off.
These are really good. There's no messing around with it. You take that. What are you doing?
But same thing. Set your flag. Whoop.
We already got a bite.
You did.
Hit my ceiling fan.
Set the flag in there.
Not the ceiling.
These are really good.
And same thing. You get a bite, watch the ceiling fan.
Bang.
Flag goes off.
Goes up.
But these are real nice because you can now adjust it down here and tighten your drag and everything. And it's top of the line.
If you don't have a drag like that, what we used to do is you can take a rubber band, depending on what you're catching, and if you want to slow that reel down, you can take a rubber band and just put it over the spool, and that'll act like a drag. It takes a little bit more to pull the line out.
Joshua Bella is asking how big of walleyes you typically get out there.
Well, they got some keepers this year out there.
It all depends. It depends where you fish. There's places that he's stocked in Connecticut. Through the course of the past 20 years, and they vary from a 12-inch fish to we had fish this year where pretty darn close to breaking the state record, which is 15 pounds. We had a fish that was just about 30 inches, 31 inches. It was a big fish, and maybe had we have not let it sit on the ice and bled out for 5-6 hours, had I known it was bleeding, I would have let it go. I wanted to let it go, but it was probably pretty darn close to a state record. But we get them a lot of fish on a good night, anywhere from 20 to 25 inches. But not a lot of lakes hold them, so there's only a select few in the state of Connecticut anyways. Yeah. Of course, you can go out in the Midwest, and you can probably attest to it. Some of these places, they get 35-inch fish, no problem.
They get monsters.
Yeah, I would love to do it.
And Carlos Cruz says, what's up, guys?
Hey, Carlos, how are you? Looking forward to seeing you guys in the spring.
Melvin Grant is saying my buddy uses those little white fishing lights, battery operated red and green indications.
Yeah, a few
CJ probably can't see them either.
No, I can't. I gotta get glasses, so they say. But that's another story. Then you got this. This is how you keep your bait alive. This has come a long way too. Normally you have the bait freeze in the bucket.
Yep.
It's half dead in the morning. You gotta go buy new stuff. But it's called a bubbler, pretty much. It's an aerator. Hook to the top of your bucket.
Battery operator.
Turn it on.
Flip the switch. You can hear it going.
Yeah. Keeps the bait alive. Now for me, I keep, when I get the bait, we have a big 55-gallon drum. And we have a little pond where we keep it. So we drill a big hole, set the barrel in the actual pond, anchor it down.
Let it freeze.
Anchor it down, and then we pour our bait in there and just let it filter, and they stay alive forever. But if you don't have that, the bubble box. That's the way to go.
One of the things too is, and I see this all the time on the ice, is you've got to check these tip-ups all the time. You're allowed, 6 legally in the state of Connecticut. If you take a kid, like I've been taking my grandkids quite a bit, they're allowed 2 without a license. But you've got to check them. Don't just set them and forget them.
What he means by checking them is, like, let's just, for example, last night, it was cold. Obviously, we have ice, it's cold. The holes freeze over. So if you wait 20, 30, 40, 50 minutes to check a flag, you can't get that out of the hole. Okay, you got to break that ice.
Frozen right in there.
Not to mention, sometimes you'll lose a bait. The fish will steal.
You'll lose a bait. Sometimes the fish is on there, doesn't trip the flag.
I've had that happen many times. But you always want to keep up on your stuff.
When we set up, when we have 4 or 5 guys and we've got 25, 30 type out, I mean, we're always checking them. We're just going around. We take a 5-gallon bucket with us with a dozen baits in there. If the bait is a little bit slow or it's dead, we'll put a new one on. But you've got to put the effort in if you want to catch them. And we've had some days this year where, I mean, there's a flag, there's a flag, there's a flag. I mean, holy God, it's like nonstop,
Right.
And we haven't kept that many fish.
No.
I mean, I know the other day we caught a lot of crappie. We caught the crappie.
That was good fishing, actually. You guys had some good fishing.
We were jigging them, which is a different story, but we were catching a lot of crappie because they're so good to eat.
So John Davis says, what's happening, CJ and Captain Greg? We've been waiting for Talkin Tackle.
We're talking tackle.
Talking tackle.
Talking ice fish. Haven't had it in a while, so we're excited.
Different kind of tackle, but
it's a good year for it. So if you've never done it before, what's the matter? We got a comment? We got a question? What are you saying?
It's a lot of fun.
Stephen Colt said, when are we going?
Hey Steve, how are you?
Steve, got to be cold up there in upper state New York.
His buddies are waiting for his porgies. Another couple months.
Yeah.
You'll have a cooler fall.
Yeah.
But if you want to ice fish,
do yourself a favor, like we preach on the Black Hawk. If you're going to keep a fish, bleed them and ice them.
Jamie Lynn says, hey, can you let us know when you're going ice fishing so we can bring the kids? I do try to sign up for deep tutorials, but this year they've been virtual.
Okay, so we go every weekend, and you don't necessarily need us, but you can go on any local pond. Everything's pretty much frozen, but I always recommend taking a friend, checking the edges of the ice with a bar before you go walk out on it. But everything's pretty much frozen, so now's the time to go.
A lot of ice.
Yeah, plenty of ice. But we go every Saturday for you, anyways. And like I said, I went last night. And like I said, the food was good. Fishing. Food was excellent.
Fishing wasn't that good. Anything else we can say? I guess that's about it.
I want to give a couple of shout outs.
Oh, that's right. Bait.
Yeah, bait.
Very important. Bait is very, very important. And there's 3 places where we get our bait.
Yeah.
And they're all good. And the first one, I was just there the other day, is the Fish Connection up in on Route 12 up in Preston.
He's got some really nice shiners.
Excellent shiners. They got 3 tanks in there, and he really takes care of the bait. And the stuff is as alive as can be, man. When you net them, the damn things are screaming when you put them in the tank. I mean, excellent bait.
We also use Zach over there at Zaz Bait and Tackle in Portland.
Yep, another good place.
He's been a good customer of ours. He's fished on the Black Hawk.
That's on Route 66.
Yeah,
right?
right at the end. Yeah, very, very nice bait. Has
Good bait.
all the ice fishing tackle you could imagine. Sells the K-drills, tip-ups, jet sleds, you name it. And then we got Dave. And Dave is a local guy, catches local pond shiners. Now, what's that mean?
It's called native baits.
A lot of these baits, I should say, are shipped from a different state. But Dave spends the time to catch local pond shiners. You can look them up, native baits, the best stuff. That's what I had last night. Granted, the food was good last night, but some of that bait, man, you can't beat it. Anywhere from 2-3 inch fish to up to 12-inch live baits. So native baits, if you want some real good bait, check him out. He's on Facebook, on the internet. But those are the 3 places I like to get bait from.
And John Davis wants to know, hey guys, by the way, what's going on with the boat?
We were there yesterday.
The boat's down there. It's getting sandblasted. Certain parts of it where it's just a big job to sandblast everything.
It really is.
So we're doing it in segments. Last year we blasted the hull. We painted the hull. This year we're doing the deck house and the gunnels, and we've got a lot going on. We're putting a new generator in, as you know. I put 2 new generators in, and we had a problem with one, and we're pulling it the hell out of there. Going to get it rebuilt, and we got a brand new 20 kW generator sitting down there that if they didn't put it in today, it's ready to go in. So it's
coming along nice.
It's coming along. They've got to sand the bottom. They got to paint the bottom. We pulled the shafts. We changed the strut bearings and the stern tube bearings. I know that probably doesn't mean much to people.
Another funny thing is, because of the ice, we had a tough time getting down there to begin with because everything was frozen over.
That's one of the problems. We were supposed to be down there in Mamaroneck January 1st, and because it was so frozen, the whole place was frozen. You know, you got flounder yipping in the back here. Yeah, that's her in her back. She wants to come out. You know.
Oh, Ed.
But anyhow, well, that's about it. Listen, we'll be doing this again next week, 7 o'clock. Stay tuned. Give us your comments. Give us your subjects. If there's anything you'd like us to talk about, it's up to you. Like I said, we had a lot of people ask about ice fishing and whether it's so popular this winter. That's what we did tonight.
And I know we got something going on with the Facebook stuff. Keep sending your pictures from the ice fishing stuff with your Black Hawk gear on. I believe there might be a contest or something like that. But keep sending those photos in, guys. All right.
And we did one last thing. We did tag a few fish with a Black Hawk tag that we do during the summertime. And yeah, we did. Oh yeah, I tagged one just the other day there in Gorton Pond. We tagged a nice big largemouth bass. But if you catch a tagged fish,
Stephen Colt wants to know, you're going to the Suffering Show.
I am not going. We are not doing any shows this year. I'm showed out. I know there's been a lot of questions. I'm after 40 some odd years of doing shows with my friend the Shark. There, I'm retiring. The shows are dropping off, and that was flounder. But flounder.
I think she hears it.
She does hear.
But so the shows have definitely been going downhill. Every year it's a little worse, and we're gonna do other things. But the shows, I know I got a lot of requests to do shows.
Todd Bruce wants to know, hey Greg, want some good bourbon? Gonna have one
Todd
myself.
Good bourbon.
You know Todd?
Oh yeah. Okay, folks.
From the living room, Talkin Tackle.
Talkin Tackle. CJ Adams. We'll see you next week.
Take care, guys.
So long.